Hello, my lovelies. This video is about Mercury retrograde. Yes, second planet, personal planet this month in March is going to retrograde. Now we have already Venus retrograding since the beginning of March, and now we will have Mercury. Now this will be the first retrograde of Mercury. Each year we get 3 Mercury retrogrades. It's not new. Now, as you might know, during Mercury retrograde, there are some precautions, some things not to do, not advisable actually to do, and especially initiate things, especially to begin things like to begin business or to begin something important like open a store or maybe even surgeries. If those are planned surgeries, better to reschedule them, better to postpone them, because when Mercury retrogrades, everything can go wrong. And in general, there won't be any sort of fast momentum, there won't be fast start. There is not much progress in whatever you're gonna start anew. But there are some things that you can do during Mercury retrograde, which will, let's say, will have much better results, especially those things that are already on your table, like finishing some things up or going back to some things to sort of reshape, redesign, or rework some things. Now, those things will be amazing. Now, Mercury, Mercury is planet of communication, also everything like how we communicate, how we speak, how we write and listen, all this communication skills. And in general, Mercury signifies commerce and trade, meaning media also, and also business. And Mercury is about voice, about opinions and public speaking, meetings, getting to know each other. You see, this is a lot of like a communication, this vital function of between all the people. So this function will slow down, will have mess ups, will have sort of people might start being forgetful or confused, or there might be a lot of like rescheduling things or mistakes, and it's not necessarily on purpose. It's just because Mercury retrograding, our mind will be sort of scattered, it's much harder to concentrate, let's say, to gather yourself up. So that's why all these mishaps happen with dates, with data, with information, wrong date, wrong hour, or meetings getting postponed or rescheduled or getting canceled, or wrong flight, wrong date, all these things, and in generally when you book, let's say, travel tickets, or so like you book any meetings, like you are organizing any meetings, always very good to double check or even triple check all the information when Mercury retrogrades, if you happen to be doing all those things during Mercury retrograde. And if those things are happening, like the important meetings, don't be surprised if some things might go a little bit, let's say, sideways, not as planned, or there might be some surprises coming from all sorts of angles when Mercury retrogrades. And Mercury is a personal planet, as I said. That's why we feel it more directly in our lives, meaning they are very close when they are retrograding to our Earth planet, and it's affecting us more directly through daily life, through all sorts of situations. And this Mercury retrograde is very special because we have Mercury retrograde in Aries, now first sign of the zodiac. Now Mercury, start retrograding in Aries, but then it will move backwards because it's retrograding, right? So it's moving backwards, and it will, in April, it will be in Pisces, retrograding in Pisces. And guess what? Why this Mercury retrograde is special? Because this Mercury retrograde will go hand in hand with Venus, together with Venus, on the same degrees, like sort of second right, sort of from universe, same degrees from Aries until Pisces. And it's like, they are starting almost at the same degree of Aries, they are retrograde, and they are finishing also almost at the same degrees. Like there is only 1 or 2 degree difference. But this journey between Aries and Pisces to the specific degrees, these two planets will be retrograde, meaning there is something important for you to rethink, for you to maybe redesign, reschedule, or give a second thought, maybe to do some things, and a lot of sort of confusion and indecisiveness. Now, with Mercury, there is a thing, indecisiveness might add up there. A lot of retrospective feeling, a lot of reflective feeling. Now, I will talk for each zodiac sign which area of your life will be affected the most with these two retrogrades. Plus, if you haven't watched Venus retrograding, because Venus is planet of love and beauty and also money, it has a little bit different sort of vibe and energy when it retrogrades. So go watch the video on my YouTube channel. It's already up for your zodiac sign there, and in general there are plenty interesting information when Venus retrogrades, because we don't get Venus retrograding so often as Mercury retrograde because Mercury retrogrades 3 times per year, as I said. Now, and we sort of used to these kind of things. Let me give you a few advices. When usually people ask me about like dental work, surgery, or buying and selling, transportation. Buying, not a good thing during Mercury retrograde, because whatever we buy expensive, like house, apartment, or car, some luxury things, usually we change mind after that. Like we bought it and then we don't like it, or we don't use it, or we don't need it in general, or something sort of there is off. And about technical stuff, like technical appliances, all this technological stuff, phones, I don't know, kitchen appliances, home appliances, all those things, better not to buy during Mercury retrograde because it rules all those technology stuff. That's why they might go off. And there are a lot of situations when something's not working at home, or when you bought some, let's say, new oven and it's not working, or some problems there. And in general, sort of during Mercury retrograde, better to avoid those things, like buying things. But for example, if you're selling, that is a good thing, because during Mercury retrograde, you will sell for a good price, you will be happy, and even like you will sell for the better price that you expected, let's say. And during Mercury retrograde, never good to do any surgeries, or also plastic surgeries. Now, of course, if we have an emergency, right, we do those things. We don't look at the planet, meaning universe has a plan, right? But when it's a planned one, like if you plan that surgery, better to postpone it until Mercury goes direct, plus Venus goes direct too. Now we have, in general, in total, avoid March and April for any sort of beginnings, like important starts, initiations, like any like project, business, commerce, and trade, and also buying luxury stuff, and also doing surgeries, like if you have planned ones, and plastic surgery, especially plastic, because Venus is retrograding in Aries. Now, Venus is all about look, all about beauty, how you look. And Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's about face and head. So better to avoid all in all March and April with this plastic surgery, especially. During Mercury retrograde, also better to double check all the information, as I said, especially if you have meetings, and in general, maybe flights, travel plans, bookings. All those things might go wrong. People tend to be more forgetful, more confused, and all this information might get confused too. Like posts also might get lost and not reach to the recipient, or all these small sort of mishaps happen during Mercury retrograde. Now, because Mercury is about signing contracts also, it rules those contracts, agreements. Even if you sign important papers, for example, for a new job, let's say, just keep in mind that you might always let's say, change that job, or something you will not be liking about that job. Let's say you thought one thing about the conditions when they offered the job, but then it became a completely different sort of picture. Like all sorts of situations might come up during Mercury retrograde when we sign papers and contracts. So better if you sign it to read it thoroughly, and even to consult with your lawyer or someone who is in place to give you valuable advices related to the contract, related to the agreement, and in general double check all the conditions, especially if it's a job offer. In general, like after this Mercury retrograde ends, you always can find any other, let's say, position or any other job. So no worries on that. If you need to sign, then of course you go ahead, but of course better to postpone it for better period, let's say, when Mercury goes direct. And of course, and Mercury and Venus, they both have shadow periods, meaning even April will be month when they both go direct, but May will be the month when they will come out of their shadow period finally. And actually May is the better month to all those things that I listed just now. Now, Mercury retrograde starts on 15th of March, right after eclipse that we have, which it rules, by the way. Mercury will be ruler of this eclipse this month. And if you haven't watched your prediction for eclipse, also I have another video on that. Go watch for your zodiac sign on my YouTube. And the next day of this eclipse, a ruler of this eclipse, so Mercury, goes retrograde, meaning slows down. And it will stay retrograde until 7th of April. And then we'll go direct. So it will be much faster than Venus, because Venus goes direct on 13th of April. But they will be both connecting each other, and in Aries and in Pisces. Basically, they're like, this one is particularly interesting retrograde. They're like two friends who are together walking through all these degrees and going backwards. Sort of universe really wants to stress something there for you, show you something that you need to pay attention, and even maybe release or rework, change something there. Now let's go sign by sign to see what universe wants you to change, which area of your life wants you to change. Now Aries, for you guys, it will be your sign and first house. Now it's very strong. It's plus you have eclipse coming up by the end of March, and also like Neptune and Saturn moving this year into your sign, and also these two retrogrades happening in the same degrees. It's crazy. Sort of your life right now seems like such a explosive point, something very big is happening there, something very life-changing bubbling up there, building up there. Like all the planets are stressing into your sign, and plus your first house, meaning this area of your life related to self, related to your priorities, to your plans, to your appearance. A lot of you guys might change your appearance, but again, Venus is retrograding, Mercury is retrograding. March and April, not good months to do any plastic surgeries. Remember that. And specifically for you guys, my dear Aries, because it's a first house. And first house rules our appearance, how we look, our face in general. So better not to do any plastic surgeries, any drastic changes, any hair, I don't know, dyeing, like to different colors, or haircut. You might not like it. You might regret it, actually. So postpone it until May, my dear Aries. But if you want to lose weight, this is amazing time, because they are retrograding. So you can sort of release things, There is also a lot of hesitance sort of in your first house. Now Mercury, when start retrograding, it will add this sort of hesitation related to plans, maybe. What are your plans? What are your priorities in life in general? Because first house is about that. And some of you guys also might even change your name, because first house is about our name, surname, and even maybe brand. Maybe you will go back to representing some brands, or vice versa. You might stop working or pause for some time working with some brand, let's say, or you might pause working some projects, let's say, or some plans, or going back to previous plans, actually coming back to your previous priorities and wishes. Maybe you will take up some project that you've been working before, but then you left it halfway, let's say, for some reason. Or maybe you will be just pausing some project that you're working now because you are sort of hesitant about how to approach it or how to take it further, or what kind of resources to use to develop this project. Whatever is that, there is either hesitation, either pause. With these planets, they are actually telling you to do so, my dear Aries. It will be much better if you rework things there. Now, and also first house in general, how people treat me and how I treat other people. And here it will work as mirror, my dear Aries. During this whole March and April, when Mercury will be retrograding, it might, and plus Venus, because Venus is about values, you know. So it's like it might be, those two planets might be giving you some situations, some people, you know, where you will be evaluating self, how you actually treat people and how they treat you. But always to remember one thing, it's a mirror situations. You know, when these two planets, they retrograde, the universe is like mirror. It becomes your mirror. It will be showing you how you allow other people treat you and how you treat them. And it means to work within yourself and with yourself, my dear Aries. Taurus, for you guys, it will be 12th house. Now, 12th house is all about past, and it's all about hidden things, you know, behind the doors. Now, it's all about past projects. Maybe there's seems like quite a lot of things for you to finish up things, you know, in your life. Seems like it might be like dealing with some paperwork which is stuck like long time ago, and you've, let's say, given up on that, but then now universe wants you to concentrate on those paperworks, maybe related to travel, maybe related to relocation, or some old projects with your old manager, for example, or company, previous company that you work with. So somewhere very far and somewhere very that you know well. Maybe you lived in that place before, and there are some leftovers from your work that you need to do, to deal with, let's say, or some paperwork that you need to deal with. So universe stressing there that you need to finish those things, my dear Tauruses. Or it might be about inheritance, because 12 house is also inheritance. You might get busy in March about inheritances, let's say, to deal with those kind of papers. The 12th house is also, you know, house of let's say, surgery and being alone and in solitude, sort of isolated places like hospitals. Some of you guys might be spending some time, let's say in March or in April, because you have, let's say, surgery, or because you have some sort of procedures at the hospital for the second time, for some reason which you already had before, as an example. So it seems like you might be going through same procedures, you know, in a more positive prediction. It can be actually visiting same like luxury places like islands or hotels where you spend amazing time, and you're now going back to those places because you enjoyed it a lot, as an example, you know, instead of hospital. So some of you guys, it might be actually related to well-being. Some of you guys, for some of you, it will be more of a like a travel vacation sort of thing. 12th house is also, you know, a house of secrets. And here, Mercury and Venus, they will be pointing towards those maybe secrets of other people or your secrets. They might be coming back into your life, and they might be in general out into the world. Or maybe you will be digging some information like in archives, maybe about your family history, or maybe you need some papers related to your family ancestors, or I don't know, some sort of like historical data. Maybe you will be looking for some information, as an example, or some document. 12 house is sort of, you know, digging out from past, literally speaking. So there might be like you will be on the pursuit of finding out something, because Mercury and Venus plus Venus, your ruler, pointing out that you would want to find out something, let's say. Now, 12th house is also a house of these restrictions. You know, when we have restrictions, like by rules, for example, in army, or because of company sort of rules, we have some strict restrictions and limitations, and these two planets will sort of will take you back to those limitations for one or another reason. Like it might be, for example, you are going back or you are working again with some company where they have strict rules, and they like to working with you because you followed those rules, and now you will be cooperating again, like sort of collaborating again with that company, as an example. And in general, it might, these two planets might restrict your movement in March and April for one or another reason. Like movement, meaning like traveling somewhere, or maybe because of work you cannot travel, maybe because of your baby or something is going on there, like you had some plans of travel, but then some things, let's say, will come up and you will not be able to travel, as an example, my dear Aries, sorry, Taurus. And 12th house, as I said, it's about health, so you might, let's say, go back to some procedures and in general checkups, my dear Tauruses. Geminis, for you guys, it will be 11th house, and 11th house is about friendships. Your old friendship groups might come back into your life. Maybe you might go back to actually being part of that social group again. Your old friends might contact you, or you might contact them, like remembering them, and in general you might become part of again a same social group for the time being. For example, communicating a lot again with your old friends, maybe from high school, or let's say some social group that you've been part before but not anymore, but now they are coming back to you. Or you might hear back some news from those old friends, let's say. 11th house is also house of our future, our plans. And here it seems like you are hesitating, or you have you are sort of stuck there, you know, you are evaluating your plans for the future, what you want in general, which direction to take your future, you know, sort of lost. There is a foggy situation in your head also, because Mercury rules your ruler, and it's about mind, it's about plans, to have clear plans. And for the time being, these two planets are retrograding in your future house, house of future. Seems like you are a bit lost, or you are hesitating to go after of what you're seeking, actually, you know, either of these things. And there is like strong reevaluation going on there, sort of priorities, what to prioritize: family, business, maybe friendships, maybe money, or your career or personal goals, or maybe it's your own business or working for companies. Some things, like some values, you sort of, and Venus and Mercury stressing you there to reevaluate the path for your future that you are going to choose. And you are on this journey until end of April, my dear Geminis. 11th house is also house of popularity, internet, and all those, you know, social media might become on pause. If you've been quite active on social media, you might want now to be a bit private, or you might be a bit lost about value of this social media, whether you need it or whether you don't need it, in general, whether to continue to develop or not, like your online presence, let's say. Well, and in general, if you are like a popular, then like a lot of followers you have, then it's again questions about popularity, whether you need it or whether you don't, or maybe you want to be a popular. Some things like end mind and values, you know, mixed all these things, and you are having a lot of research about self within this area of your life. Also, 11th house is about social events like shows, big events. You might get invited to some event which is huge, let's say, which like a lot of people gather. Usually it's a game, for example. Just imagine a game or concert of someone, and it might be that you've been to those kind of events before or to the same kind of event, and you are again getting invitation, or you are yourself going to attend this kind of event again. My dear Geminis. Cancers, for you guys, it's the most sensitive part, one of the sensitive part of our horoscope. It's your 10th house. 10th house is about career, the most highest part of our chart, where we want to go, where we want to be, and it's our shining point. And for you, my sweeties, it seems like you are stuck. You are a bit on a reflective journey. If before you are very sure of what to do next with your career, now when Mercury retrogrades together with Venus, these two planets will give you a lot of reflective sort of this long journey where you seems like hesitating. You have a lot of hesitance whether to pursue those career aspirations or maybe that position, or in general whether you want to work in this area, and in general about your career, like what you want to do in life and about your skills. You seem a bit lost during this Mercury and Venus retrograde. And universe, don't be frustrated. The universe is giving you on purpose so that you actually come to yourself, self inner child, and let go that inner child to see what that you, true you, wants in life, what that person wants to do in life, like career wise. What is your, let's say, social place in a bigger society. And you will be in this next 2 months in on a questioning journey, of yourself, questioning self, let's say, and whether to take up that position, whether to go to that career, or maybe change, or maybe not to change. If before this retrograde you've been 100% sure, but now with this retrograde, seems like you will be pausing, you will be reflective, and you will be hesitating a little bit. But it's a good period for you to go through values, actually, what you value in life, what kind of skills you have that are valuable, that are helpful to bigger society, and that will help you to earn more money. That's what you should be thinking about, where you will be shining the most. Try to, let's say, think with your heart, not with your brains, because your brains will be foggy, my dear Cancers, because Mercury is retrograding. The 10th house is also a house of social status. Some of you guys might be on a reflective journey of your marriage or your social status. Let's say if you're single, let's say about your singlehood. Or if you're in a long-term relationship, you will be a bit on a reflective journey, whether your long-term sweetheart, your partner, is going to take your relationship a step further to marriage or proposal, or whether or not, or maybe it's you who will be thinking about marriage and proposal, or in general the future of this long-term relationship. And if you are married, then it's about marriage. You will be thinking about a situation maybe within your marriage and your place within this marriage too, and whether you are valued, whether you are not, by your husband or wife, and in general whole this relationship area. And for some of you, it might be not even about relationship, it might be about like a parenthood. If you have kids or if you don't have kids, you guys in general will go on this retrospective journey related to your social status, like those labels that we give, if we are parents or we are not parents, whether you want to become a parent, what kind of parent you would be, let's say. All these questions and values will go through your mind and life, as a sort of background, let's say, also action, and in general life situations will be like universe will be giving you this sort of life situations to like a mirror, to reflect, to see actually your values, my dear Cancers. Leos, for you guys, it's in ninth house. Now, ninth house is everything related to travel and also foreign affairs. Now, if you guys are planning travel or you are traveling this period, March and April, again, double check and triple check all the information, all the data, because all information might go messy, might go wrong, meetings getting canceled, and it's also related to those foreign documents like real residence permits or passports or citizenships. You might hear back from them, let's say, if you've been waiting, or there will be some situation you might need additional documents, like submit some additional documents, submitting some paperwork maybe, or redoing some paperwork because there will be some mistakes on those papers, let's say. There might be sort of a lot of um, travel and foreign related paper work. And if you have a legal case or you're involved in a lawsuit, then it's also about you. There you might hear back from that case, and again, you might need to submit additional documents or redo some documents there. Now, ninth house, for those of you who are studying, again, you might retake the test. You might need to retake the test, or maybe to redefend your thesis, let's say, your work, your research. Or maybe you will be you will be reworking, completely rewriting your work if you are like a student and you are studying, let's say, because this is all about retrospective and reworking things. Now, ninth house is about publishing. Those of you who are trying to publish a book, a research, or an article, here Mercury and Venus will give you a lot of let's say, again, writing work, or maybe there will be a word from editor or some publishing house about some things that you will need to change related to your work that you want to publish. And you will have to maybe rewrite some things, maybe you will have to fact check some things, So here, all in all, really great to give a second second thought about your work before it goes into publishment in general. Also, you might travel to some places that you've been before, that you know well, because ninth house is about traveling. It's about going back to some places that you already traveled before, my dear Leos. Virgos, for you guys, it will be 8th house. It's a financial house. You will be on a retrospective journey about your finances that you share with other people, like with your wife, with your husband, or with your business partners, for example, or like alimony if you are divorced, or it's your scholarship if you're a student, or that bank loan that you took to buy a house or apartment or a car, whatever, like bank loan or bank related money that you have and share that are coming into your pocket from other people or from other institutions like financial institutions, government institutions. All that money will be under scrutiny of this Mercury, your ruler, and Venus. Now, this will be sort of interesting also retrograde for you, because they both will be retrograding starting in Aries, as I said, and ending in Pisces. And Pisces is the opposite sign to yours, my dear Virgos. And Mercury rules your sign, you see, and it will affect you more directly. And plus, you always feel your ruler retrograding. All information might go wrong. So there is no surprise for you, should be. But here it will be about those money, about bank money, about taxes, about loans. You might apply, let's say, for I don't know, maybe changing the plan of your loan, maybe lowering, let's say, interest rates. Some things you will be reworking there, and it will be beneficial for you if you will be asking a lot of questions, let's say, related to that money. Also, 8th house is about conception. It's about baby boom. It might send, these two planets might send you to that journey about being a parent also, or in general to those procedures if you've been trying to get pregnant then you might be working on those procedures, let's say health wise procedures, conception wise procedures. For some of you guys, it will be about mystical things, psychological things. Eighth house is mystical place, esoterics. Some of you guys might go dive deep into esoterics like astrology, numerology, all those things. You might contact these kind of professionals maybe to have some advices. And eighth house in general, it's a health house, it's a healing house. And here, Mercury retrograding there suggests that you might go back to some healing methods. For example, like, I don't know, maybe sport, or maybe like calling to some professionals who might help you, whether it's mentally or physically, some healing, maybe non-traditional or traditional methods of healing. You might revert back to those, like, let's say, taking again some vitamins or some supplements that you stopped taking, as an example. And in general, also eighth house, as I said, about money and investments, you might, it will not be great time to invest into new sort of coins or shares, any financial instruments, but it will be a good time to reinvest into something that you did before, like revive some project or, again, financial instruments, my dear Virgos. Libras, for you guys, it will be most important part also of the chart. It's the seventh house. Now, when we have planets retrograding in seventh house, it's immediately mirror effect. It's, seventh house is about all other people. And here, whole March and April seems like universe through these two planets will be sending you into journey of reflection related to relationships with other people. It doesn't matter. It might be romantic relationship or business relationship, with a relationship with your colleagues, with your child, with parents, with your partner, with your husband or wife. It doesn't matter who, but all sorts of relationships. In general, it seems like you will be on a reevaluation path, how you are treated and how other people treat you. You might be reflecting a lot on situations with other people that you had before and how they went, let's say, what was the result, and what could have been done differently, or how you could have handled that situation differently, let's say. Or now, what kind of boundaries you have, within those relationships, no matter with whom. It might be also with your enemies. Seventh house is the enemies that we know, face to face. What are your boundaries? There are like healthy boundaries or not? And as I said, because it's a mirror effect, most important thing here for you guys, my dear Libras, to remember will be that all those things will be showing you, not other people. You should not sort of concentrate all your mind on other people, but they will be showing you your values, your true self, your boundaries, how you handled it, and how you allowed to handle that situation with other people, and how you allowed other people to treat you, and in general, how you treated other people. It sort of will be mirroring, So, most important part will be here to actually go reflect on yourself, on your behavior, on your boundaries, and in general, uh, all this relationship topic with other people will be showing exactly that. What kind of partners you attract because of you, because of your behavior. What kind of, I don't know, colleagues you attract. What kind of situation, what kind of people you attract into your life. So this part will be sort of huge reflection journey, my dear Libras, for you guys. The seventh house is also house of, big companies, big corporations, and those, companies that has like a lot of offices in different countries. If you say that I'm not on a journey of reflection with other people, like relationship, then it might be about those companies. You might go back working to those companies, let's say, that you worked before, seems like, to some big corporation, to some company which has a lot of like offices in different countries, for example. Or you might go back to the same contractual agreements that you had, or maybe your competitors and opponents will get activated during this time. About these contractual agreements, for you guys, extra important not to sign anything like very serious papers during Mercury retrograde. Try to sign them after they will go direct by the end of April, but better to do that in May. And marriage too, because it's happening in your marriage house, my sweet Libras. Venus is retrograding, and Venus is your ruler. You know, this is very particular retrograde of Mercury and Venus. And Venus, both of them, they start retrograding in Aries and end in Pisces. And you see this, uh, Venus is your ruler, and it's in your direct opposite sign. So it's a seventh house of marriages. And if you get like proposal, or if you're planning to get married, try to sign marriage papers in May or later date, but not when your ruler is retrograding. Because when Venus, you know, if you haven't checked that video about Venus retrograde, your ruler retrograding, check on my channel. I made a whole separate video on that, because it's a bit different vibration than Mercury retrograding. But the point here, they will be all together going through the same degrees, meaning affecting your sign too through the same degrees. And when we sign marriage papers, again, love will not be sort of enough there, you know. So anyhow, try to avoid signing important papers, my dear Libras. Scorpios, for you guys, it will be house of work, sixth house. Now, when Mercury and Venus retrogrades in sixth house, you know, there will be a lot of hesitation, a lot of mishaps at work with colleagues, and all the meetings might get canceled, or there will be some things off, like postponing some meetings or some agreements. You know, there will be a lot of hesitation, maybe from your managers, from your colleagues, to do the job, to finish the job. And in general, it's a good time to go back to some projects that you've been working before, to finish that work, you know, but not initiate new projects during this retrograde period, meaning whole March and April. Now, sixth house is also on a more, let's say, deeper level. It might give you a sort of reflective journey on your skills at work, what kind of skills you have and what kind of skills you use to do the job, and maybe you lack to do the job, or you lack and you would want to get, so that you change your job, your position, or maybe you get promotion. You know, sort of reflective journey will be here, whether you are pouring, let's say, a lot of your time and energy and effort, and whether it is paid off, or also whether you are spending less time, and how it is affecting, let's say, your salary, your performance, and in general, are you valued at your work? Like, are those other people and your managers, do they value you as a competent worker, and in general as a colleague? You know, this kind of questions will be swirling with this retrograde whole March and April for some of you guys. And for some of you, it will be about health. If it's not about work, then it might be about health. You might go back to some procedures that you've done before, health-wise, like some checkups maybe, or some, I don't know, maybe spa session or massage session, for example. Sixth house is all about that. And in general, sixth house is our, solving problems house. And here, these two planets, it seems like making your attention to go all those, to put on those, problems, let's say, or issues, better to say, or like tasks that have been piling up on your desk, and you were trying to avoid that, but now will be the time when universe will tell you to finish those things, to solve all these things, to sort out all those issues, to make it clear, let's say, and clean your desk, my dear Scorpios. It might be that too. And in general, sixth house are all those people who work for us, like our assistants or maybe nannies. Those things, those people might come back to your life, or you might hear from them who worked before to you, let's say, or you might again work with them on some project. My dear Sagittarius, for you guys, it will be fifth house, most happy chart part of your chart and life. Now, fifth house, when planets retrograde in fifth house, it's about joy of life. It's about more on a deeper level. These two planets will be pointing on reflection, how you enjoy this life, through what kind of recreational activities, maybe, I don't know, whether it's, I don't know, eating ice cream or going to, um, I don't know, maybe zoo, or doing sport or drawing something or music, through what kind of activities you sort of you are happy, you enjoy this life, you feel this life. And it seems like you will be on this journey, actually, what brings you happiness, how you feel and enjoy this life in general. But on a more, let's say, direct level of this life, materialistic level, it might be a lot of, let's say, issues or some things to sort out around your kids. If you have your kids, or in general, if you don't have, then it's about parenthood. Whether you are ready to be parent, whether you want to have kids, and whether it will be better to have kids now. All these things, these questions, related to having kids. But if you have them, then it means related to their education, related maybe to their health. So there will be a lot of errands to run during whole March and April. Or for some of you guys, it will be about business, especially those of you who are business owners. Or if you've been planning to open your business, now is not a good time to open a business, not in March, not in April. Wait until May, my dear Sag. But if you've been planning, again, here seems like that you're stuck. Sort of, if you have business, then where to take this business further, how to develop this business, or maybe to rework some things, this business, let's say, or maybe completely change it, for example, or whether you are happy to be a business owner, or whether you want to close it or something like this. And if you don't have it yet, seems like, again, you are confused, or maybe you are hesitant to open it, and now you are on pause, whether you in general want to have this business and open, for example, store. It doesn't matter, maybe online store or um, offline store. So related to having your own thing, so it seems like you will be reevaluating there some things. Now, fifth house is also house of romance and love and flirting and dating experiences. A lot of you guys might go on journey about this part of your life, like about your dating experiences, what kind of partners you want to have in life and want to attract into your life, or in general, how you've been treated, let's say, from you within your dating experiences, or how you treated other people too. And in general, this will be about a love. If you are dating already, then you might go and on a revaluation journey about this person, whether you are happy with this person that you start dating, whether is the right one, whether you want to take this relationship further, or whether you don't want to take, maybe some things you don't like, some things you are not satisfied with, or maybe satisfied with. All these things will be around this love thing, while these two planets will be retrograding. And for some of you, it will be about your talents and hobbies, especially those of you who are in a creativity area, like actors, singers, models, and not only this area, but in general, about your talents and hobbies, what kind of talents you have, whether you could monetize those talents or skills, and whether that hobby might become your like bigger job, let's say main job. These things will be on your mind too. Capricorns, for you guys, it's a house of family and house of real estate. Now, it's one of the sensitive parts of the chart. And here you will be, on a more deeper level, on a retrospective, again, journey related to your family, related from what kind of family you came from, or what kind of family you want to build. And if you have already, then what's your value there? and in general value of family in your life, having a family, being a family, let's say, what it takes to make a great family, let's say relationships, and in general all those relationships with those family members, with your mother, father, or siblings, or your husband and wife and kids, and specifically mother. What is the relationship with your mother, how it affected your life in general, and what kind of mother you are, let's say, if that is your situation too, because fourth house is all about other mother and motherhood. And also it's about our ancestors and traditions. You might go on a reflective journey about that too, like what kind of background you came from, like about your ancestors, about those traditions that your family follows, for example, and you are part of, whether you are comfortable with that or maybe not. These topics are more on a deeper level, but more on a, let's say, materialistic level. It might be related about real estate, like living situation. Some of you guys might start redesigning your place because you don't like it, sort of you are not comfortable there, because Venus, also retrograding, and Venus is about comfort. And if you haven't watched the video about Venus retrograde, go watch on my channel, because it's a bit different vibration. But these two planets, they will be retrograding like together, as I said, on the same degrees. So it seems like you will be and mentally and physically not comfortable living in that situation, wherever you are. Maybe it's an apartment, it's a house, or it's a place where you live. Seems like you will not be comfortable. You would want to change some things, maybe to change, I don't know, a sofa, or redesign, or maybe rebuild some things. Maybe you build a house and you don't like the result and you want to change something there. I don't know, or maybe completely change all the kitchen appliances. But again, Mercury is retrograding, do that in May. But planning now is great, not buying all those things. So something's related there. Now, if you are on a purchase process, postpone it until May. Never good to buy expensive things like house or apartment during Venus and Mercury retrograde, and especially Venus. Venus rules those things. And you at the end, you might not like the result, you might not like that house or apartment that you're buying, or there won't be any need. Simply for one or another reason, there will be something off. But if you're selling, then this will be amazing time to sell your apartment, because you will have a chance to sell it for higher price, for better price, and in general it will go more smoothly. Now, fourth house is also house of citizenship. Some of you guys, if that's your topic of like moving abroad or relocating some other country, again, there will be some pause or some things that you need to rework, maybe some paperwork or some mistakes also. Maybe you will be invited to some meetings like related to relocation. Some things will be, some paperwork might need it there too. Aquariuses, my dear Aquariuses, for you guys, it's a third house. Now, third house is about communication. It's about also media projects. It's about our siblings. You might hear back from your sibling, or your siblings might be going back to the same workplace, for example, or they might come to visit you, or you might go to visit them, as an example. And in general, it's retrograding in your third house. For you guys, extra important not to sign important papers during Mercury retrograde, whole March and April. Postpone it until second half of April or May, better. Signing important deals and papers, and in general marriage papers too, because Venus is retrograding in your same third house. Now, I have a whole separate video on Venus retrograde. If you haven't watched it, watch it on my channel. My dear Aquarius, third house is also buying technical stuff and also all things transportation. Now, selling a car or any type of transport is great during this time, but not buying, because you might regret, or in general, you might not like the result, of that purchase, or something will be off with that purchase for one or another reason. Now, third house is also a house of neighbors and relatives. Those people might come visit you, or you might visit them, and in general hear back from them. Third house is also a house of short distance travels. You might travel to some places which are not far, which is near, like under 3 hours by car or by plane, where you've been before, where you know very well, and where you need to finish up some things. And in general, like third house is about our skills. And on a more deeper level, you might go this retrospective journey whole March and April related to your skills. What kind of skills you have, what kind of skills you would like to learn, or you wanted to learn before, in general, what kind of skills you possess, and whether they are helpful, whether they are helpful in earning some money, and in general, how to learn some new skills and courses and trainings. You might go back to those courses and trainings, like learning the language that you tried to learn before, but you dropped out, for example, or you quit learning, or maybe you might start speaking the language or again that you did before, but for a long time you haven't spoken, as an example, or to any other courses like coding or driving courses or any sort of this training, and skills related sort of reflective journey. Also, it can be manifested into real life too. Third house is our close circle of people, it's our closer society. So you might go back to that circle of people that you've been close before. Pisces, my dear Pisces, you will be heroes, one of the heroes of this retrograde, because this Mercury retrograde will be moving backwards, and it will start in Aries and then will move into your sign, affecting you. And also Venus is already on the same journey. It's moving through Aries whole March. By the end of March, both of these planets, and Venus and Mercury, will move into your sign in retrograde motion, in slow and weak motion, when they are inefficient. If you haven't checked your Venus retrograde prediction, go to that video on my channel. Check for your victory, my dear Pisces. Now, April you will feel it much more, the effect of this Mercury and Venus retrograde, because whole April they will be retrograding in your sign, like first half of April. But even after they will go direct, they will need some time to regain their power, their full speed. Now, for you guys, it's about money. It's a second house of income. So seems like whole March, your mind will be how you earn money, what kind of resources you have, and whether you want to have more, how to attract more resources, how to attract more money. It's more on a deeper level, will be about self-esteem, because money and self-esteem, they are linked. How much you value yourself, that's how much you earn, my dear Pisces. Seems like you will be on this reflective journey, whether you love yourself enough to earn a lot of money. One thing to remember will be here for you guys, that you will need to boost your self-esteem there, so that you attract that kind of money that you desire, my dear Pisces. And you will need to work on that, maybe through meditation, maybe through some things. But the realization here with these two planets is that you will need to work on yourself and self-esteem, how much you value, how much value you see in yourself and in your skills to earn that much money that you desire. If that is not the case now, my dear Pisces. But on a more mundane, more on a materialistic level, it will be about your work, maybe job. Let's say some projects might be stuck, or you will be reevaluating, and in general, it seems like you will be confused how to approach some assignments, how to approach some tasks, how to accomplish, how to finish them, or who to ask help. Maybe you will be pausing, some projects, or maybe in general you will be lack of skills, and in general there is a little bit hesitation and confusion and sort of stiffness, let's say, and not a lot of flexibility how to approach your daily assignments and work, let's say, in general, especially if you're new at that job and even not new, in general, my dear Pisces, for you guys, it will be sort of this kind of work related hesitation might be there. And for some of you, it's again about resources. Yes, how much money you earn, from what kind of resources, how to make those resources more, let's say. For some of you, it might be not about money. It can be also about your values, life priorities, values, where to take your life next. What's the direction of your life? What you value in this life the most? Whether it's a relationship, whether it's your career, or maybe it's a friendship, or maybe it's money. You are going through very deep evaluation process, reevaluation, reprioritization process, because Venus is the planet of values and it will be retrograding your sign too. But whole March, it's giving you this sort of perspective. What are your priorities and what are your values? Maybe it's your health, let's say. Also, second house is about material possessions, like expensive possessions, especially house and car, luxury things. And again, buying is never good during Mercury and Venus retrograde, because you might regret what you bought, or you might not not like the result, or you might not need it at the end. For one or another reason, something might be off there. Never good to buy during Mercury and Venus retrograde, those kind of things, expensive things. But to sell will be beneficial, will be amazing, because you're going to sell for better price and with a much easy, non-hassle process, let's say. Now, second house is also house of, all types of resources like energy, food. And some of you guys might go on the journey of reevaluating what kind of food you consume, like the quality of the food, and maybe even like going on diet, let's say, or changing some things about your eating habits, and in general how you get energy. Maybe it's through sport, or maybe it's through some recreational activities, for example. Now, this was your horoscope, my dears, for Mercury retrograde. And this is special one, as I said, because it's happening together with Venus, and it's a double emphasis on that part of your life, my dears. So always check your rising sign and moon sign, because 99% we can relate to our rising sign, because all the horoscopes are written for rising sign, my dears. But moon sign is very important too, because moon is our second light on this universe. So it's very important. Plus, those of you who are born at night, or who has very prominent moon in your chart, and in general it depends on the time and place where you're born. Anyhow, check all three: your sun sign, rising sign, and moon sign, to get the complete picture. Usually all of them will play out, my dears. Now, love you all. Bye bye.